Let's talk monitors, because I think we all know that there is different types of monitors and a lot of different factors, but if you don't, carry on watching. When buying your monitor, there are four main things that you want to look out for. Your first one being resolution, second being your response time, third being the refresh rate, and last being the panel type. So when it comes to resolution, in modern day monitors, you begin with 1080p, 1440p, 4K and possibly even 80K when it comes to TVs, but not really monitors at the minute. Though when it does come to picking your resolution, you kind of have to look at your graphics card and be like, what is this thing capable of? Like, is a 1080 Ti going to be capable of 4K? Probably not. Is a 5090 going to be capable of 4K? Absolutely. If you're going to be playing more competitive games and you still have a higher end card, I still recommend going for 1080p so that you can get as much FPS as you can. But if you're going for like story mode games, then 2K or 4K is going to be perfect. But if you have a 4K monitor, you're going to be able to play 1080p perfectly fine and not look choppy, whereas 2K is going to look a little bit more choppy if you go down to 1080p. The next hint you want to look out for is your response time. This will usually stay between 1 millisecond, 2 and 4. Being under 4 is perfectly fine, but you kind of want to go for 1 or 2. This response time is basically how quickly your monitor can keep up with how your game is moving, so you don't have this thing called ghosting, where you can see your character move from like 2 seconds ago. That one is pretty straightforward. It's literally just keeping up with your monitor, basically. Keeping up with your game so that there is no ghosting. Next up is refresh rate, which is basically how many hertz your screen refreshes at a time. So in older monitors or workstation monitors, you're typically looking at like 60 to 75 hertz, where in gaming monitors, you're looking at about 144 upwards. If you are doing comp gaming, then I would say about 200 hertz upwards is perfectly fine, whereas if you're doing story mode gaming, all you really need is like 165 to 180 hertz, I would say. The amount of hertz can also vary on what monitor you buy and what the resolution is, as they will usually stay intact. So a 1440p monitor are typically 165 hertz and above, whereas a 4K monitor you could only be looking at 120 hertz. This also varies by your HDMI or DisplayPort cable. The last thing that you need to know when buying a monitor is what panel type you want, which is basically how your colours are displayed and also how well the monitor performs. In monitors you have TN, VA, IPS and OLED, OLED being the newer and expensive one and TN being slightly older. I'm going to put like a description of all of them here and I'm going to read them out as well. So TN or Twisted End-Matic are known for their low input lag and their fast response times. However, their colour accuracy doesn't look too great, and if you look at your monitor from an angle, you're not really going to be able to see anything. Besides that, this is a brilliant choice for gaming and comp gaming. Next you have VA, which is vertical alignment, which is good for colour accuracy and response time. These are really good at contrast ratio, so your dark and your light colours, but VA can have some ghosting, which is not what you want. Next we have IPS, which is quite popular within gaming and just owning a monitor in general, which have really good colour accuracy and decent response times, but not the greatest. These have wide viewing angles, meaning if you're looking at your monitor from an angle, it's not going to be greyed out. You can still see the colours in your monitor perfectly fine. Although one downside is you can get the IPS glow, which is literally where brighter areas appear to bleed into darker areas. Obviously, if you're a comp gamer, you're not really going to notice this, but if you are playing like story mode games such as Elden Ring, for example, you might notice it a bit more. Last up, we have the well-known and really expensive OLED, which have amazing colour accuracy. The ratios are amazing, and the blacks and the whites are absolutely beautiful. Although we all kind of know that these are very susceptible to burning and really expensive and overpriced, but for what it is, really good.